Today we're going to create a cake topper, and we'll start off by typing the words happy birthday. Like that. From here on we'll change the font. I'll be using this one here. And what we need to do first is decide on what size we would like to use. So I'll be using 150 millimeters wide. So we'll just type that in the box. Okay, from here on, we need to move the letters so that they overlap each other, because we want this to be a one-cut object. So firstly, I will break the two words apart. Shortcut key will be Ctrl-K. And this will separate the two words from each other. Next, I'll position the words closer together so that they overlap each other, like that. A nifty little trick would be to check in wireframe view. So over here, we can see that the letters are overlapping each other, but barely. You'll notice the H and the B are not touching the I or the A of happy. To fix this, we will need to break the words apart once more. So for this, we'll use the break apart function, Ctrl-K, and the birthday as well, Ctrl-K. Now we can move the letters closer to each other, and what I'll be doing is I'll be using my arrow key to nudge it to the right. You can see it's moving quite slowly, if you want to call it that. So to increase the nudge distance, I'll just deselect it, and over here we can change the distance each arrow key press would move. So let's do that. Let's change it to 2 millimeters. Let's see what happens. Okay, if I select the H now and I press the right arrow key, you'll notice that it's moving a lot further than it was previously. So I'll be moving it like that, and then the same with the B. I'll just nudge that closer towards the I. Once more, that looks good. Okay. The other letters are overlapping quite nicely. Zooming in quite closely to make sure everything touches well, so we don't have any problems when the laser machine is actually going to cut it. You'll notice that the B also has a separate object over here, and if the machine is going to cut this part out, it'll literally just fall away, destroying part of the letter. So the way we'll fix this is by converting the B into a curve first. For that, we'll go Object, Convert to Curve, or the shortcut key will be Ctrl-Q. You'll notice that it is now turned into a curve instead of the text, like the I still is. Okay, so the B, now what we'll need to do here is break the two components apart. And for that, again, Ctrl-K, break apart. From here on, we can select this part and we can make it bigger. So I'll just use these little object grips, and I'll just stretch it bigger. What I want to do is I want to keep the position, so I'll undo this and I'll hold the Shift button down, and then I'll drag it. You'll notice that it is staying in the position, but it is proportionally all around being stretched bigger. So I'll do it something like that, and then I'll just move it down a bit, overlapping there, just touching there. So I'll just grab this top left grip and I'll just stretch it a bit in order for it to overlap there quite nicely as well. Okay, here we go. So this is not looking too bad, and I'm quite happy with that. The next part would be to create a little stick that'll have to be used for pegging it into the cake. So I'll use the rectangle tool for that, and I'll just draw a little long rectangle, and a good size to use would probably be around about 5 millimeters wide. So for that, what I'll do is I'll just unlock this little padlock, which will allow me to change the width and the height to the exact size I require and not keep the ratio locked. Okay, so we'll do 5. And from here on, I'll just move it around about there. That looks good. So let's just check the total size. Right now, it's measuring at 220 wide by 200 high, which is a bit too big. So I'll close the padlock. I'll change the width to 150, because that is like a more acceptable size for cake toppers. Okay, because I did that, you'll notice that the stick will now be smaller as well. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to change that back to 5, because that's the width that I want my little stick to be, so that it's quite sturdy and not too flimsy when it is inside of the cake. So we'll unlock that, change this back to 5. Let's make it 4, so that it looks a bit better on the edge. 4, let's check that out. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Okay, so a little square peg is not always ideal. So what I'll be doing is I'll just use a function of the rectangle tool and just create a little arrow at the bottom here. And a quick and easy way to do that is to use the rectangle corner radius function. And what this does is it'll use one of these settings over here with its a rounded corner, a scalloped, or a bevel, or chamfer. And each of these 4 object boxes, text boxes over here, represents the corners of the rectangle that is being created. So what will happen is if I select the chamfered corner and I add a dimension in here, let's say 1, what will happen is it'll add a 1 millimeter chamfer on all 4 corners of this little rectangle. As you can see, it'll have done the same on the top corners. It doesn't really matter in this case because we will be welding this guy onto the text, but the right way would be to unlock this little padlock, only add a chamfered radius to the 2 bottom corners. So for that, what I'll do is, because my block is 4, I'll add 2 on the left and 2 on the right. This will give me a nice little arrowhead, and that'll be a good way to peg into the cake. And yeah. Okay, next step would be just to make sure that this little square is nice in place over here, so that it doesn't look ugly, like that, or like just touching it. That is quite a good spot. Just need to make sure that the height is quite good as well. So it's currently at 69. So that should be alright. So if we select everything together, we can then just weld it all together and we'll have a cake topper. So we'll use weld. You'll notice I've created a shortcut for weld. My shortcut is Ctrl+Shift+W. You can add your own shortcuts, custom shortcuts on your CorelDRAW, in your CorelDRAW settings as you require. I just find it a lot easier to have keyboard shortcuts rather than having to click on every button in the workspace. So we can just click weld, and there we go. You'll notice that there's a good space between each letter. It looks quite chunky, meaning the laser won't just burn everything away. And Yes, so we can go back into our enhanced view. You'll notice that that is all set. A few little tweaks just aesthetic wise. I would just remove this little corner here. This doesn't look too good to me. I double click on that. I'll then double click on this node, get rid of that. Let's see, get rid of this guy as well. Seems to be stuck. I'll just then adjust the nodes accordingly, get rid of this dude and that guy over there, and there we go. That should be all right. You can literally delete the nodes as you wish. I just find that this is looking a lot better than what it did a moment ago. Same over here. So we'll just get rid of let's get rid of this guy and this dude over here. Get rid of him, and that should just flow a little bit better. Doesn't look all that bad. Here we go. Here we have our caketopper. Thank you for watching. In my next video, I'll have this guy being cut out on my laser machine so you can see the final product. And thank you for watching.